Hello everybody, Tyranno here, and today we've got ourselves a rather unusual tank that I wasn't really expecting to be added for a little while, and that is the Char 2C BIS. Basically, this was a one-off modification slash experiment done to one Char 2C tank, the Champagne, where basically they removed the original turret, which had a 75mm 1897 gun, with the same one as used on the M3 GMC, and they've replaced it with a new turret with a 155mm Schneider howitzer. And they've also moved the commander's stroboscopic cupola to behind the turret, removed 3 of the machine guns, and they've put 2 new engines in, though I believe they are broadly the same power as the old engines, so I don't think there's too much difference there. We've also got this tail at the back of the Char 2C BIS, which I believe could be fitted as and when required. I don't think they always had them. And to be honest, like the tail was basically to stop it from falling into a trench after it's crossed, which was more useful on the French FT-17s. I don't quite know why the Char 2C had it, because this is a huge tank. I can't imagine how big a trench would be for it to risk falling into it. Now, having a more in-depth look at the tank itself, it can only fire HE shells, with a 58mm of penetration. It's a 43kg shell, and it's got 7.65kg of high explosive. This thing is pretty deadly if you manage to hit something, and has an absurdly quick reload time of 5.2 seconds, which just seems nuts to me, to be honest. I feel like that's got to be a mistake. There's no way this thing has a 5.2 second reload rate. And it's also got gunner optics here, 4 times zoom, FOV of 18 degrees. You've got 1 machine gun at the front here, and you've got a machine gun in its own turret at the rear. No, it's not showing up on X-ray view for whatever reason. Armour is pretty good. It says 90mm of turret armour, but I can't find that anywhere. It seems to broadly be about 35mm at the front, so I'm not entirely sure where they've got 90mm from. A different Char 2C tank, the Lorraine, was up-armoured to 90mm. Perhaps they were originally going to add that tank in, and they've just forgotten to change the stats or something. You've got good frontal armour on the whole, 45mm. Yeah, it's about 45mm effective thickness all along the front. Side armour could be better, it only seems to be about 22mm. I don't think there's any armour behind that. And again, the rear is only about 15mm. Again, it seems to be different to what is shown up here, so maybe there's some additional armour behind that I'm missing. Roof armour is only about 13mm, 10mm or so. And can we see underneath? And underneath seems to be 38mm. Kind of surprising, to be honest. That's thicker than some tanks' entire armour. Mobility isn't the best with this tank, only 9.9 miles per hour. But this is a 70-ton tank, so, you know, you're not going to be the fastest thing in the world. Just for comparison, the Tiger II, which came out 20 years later, weighs slightly less than Char 2C. Although, of course, that does have a higher top speed, but that has got 20 years of engine development behind it. Now, crew is the weird one. It's got 12 crew, but they've all got very odd jobs. For example, there are 4 loaders, despite there only being 1 actual main gun, and only one of the loaders mans that gun. The other 3 all seem to be near the machine gun. Perhaps they're meant to be bringing shells from the rear to the front of the tank. Although the ammo does all seem to be at the front anyway, so I'm not entirely sure on that one. There's also 5 machine gunners. Again, there is 1 machine gun at the back of the tank, 1 at the front of the tank, and usually in a normal Char 2C there would be an additional 3 machine guns, but they've been removed. But the crewmen have just been kept, and just don't seem to really have much of a job. A lot of tanks in this era would have had repairmen or engineers as part of the crew, and War Thunder doesn't really know how to deal with them, so it just labels them as loaders or machine gunners, and they don't really have a proper job. In addition to this, we've also got the driver, the gunner, and the commander. And they're all quite spaced out, so it's going to be very hard to just knock them out with one hit, especially from the rear. You haven't got much armour here, but you've got this huge transmission, only 4 crewmen here, and then you've got to get a shell all the way to the front of the tank to actually knock out the rest of the crew, so pretty well protected and very hard to knock out with one hit. We're going to give this a quick test drive and just give it a little bit of a test, just see how it does. Now, the first thing I want to confirm, because when this was released, the turret didn't have an animation for turning. I can confirm they have added that in. Basically, the reticle would turn, but not the actual turret itself. It doesn't have the best traverse rate, and you can not actually rotate it fully 360 degrees, because obviously we've got this thing just behind the turret. You can't even turn it to sort of fire diagonally, and it's the same on the left. And you can see nice rifling in the barrel there. That's pretty good detail. And something they haven't added in is the animation for the stroboscopic cupolas. I explained in my previous video, but basically there's two cupolas here. There's basically an inside layer and an outside layer. And the outside layer is basically supposed to spin. I think it was like 300 RPM, something around that. And basically when it spins at a certain speed, it creates an optical illusion. And these bits of metal between the vision slits basically disappear. So you're protected from fire by the spinning cupola while still having excellent 360-degree coverage, which is pretty good. I don't know how well it actually works, because obviously they didn't really carry on with it. And as you can see, it gets to its top speed pretty quickly. It does pretty well in mud. Just going to do a few test fires. Now, you can destroy everything up to Panthers. I have tested it against the Panther before. I'm going to see if I can replicate it, but if not, we're just going to have to use the footage I took then. As you can expect, Panzer II goes down quickly. Panzer IV goes down quickly. I'm going to give this a try against the Panther again. And as you can see, just while doing these test shots, the reload rate on this is insane. Like, the shells barely hit the ground and I'm almost already reloaded. Which, for a 155mm howitzer, is just slightly insane. I think they're going to have to change that. There's no way that's going to work. Oh, there we go. We've got the Panther. Now, there is a turret at the rear of the tank, which was broken the other day. Yeah, you can see there it's just firing upwards. It's not actually working. The other day it was just pointed in the ground and... Oh, right, we're sideways. I'm not sure how you managed to break it twice. Exactly. Yep, we've got the ground pretty well covered now. Take a look at that grass, that hyper-realistic looking grass. Okay, this is... Okay, that's just broken. One of the other unique things about this vehicle is because of its huge size, you can cross rivers that perhaps other tanks can't really cross. Now, this river's a bit weird, and we definitely aren't going to be able to get up the other side. I did try. I managed to get halfway up that bank there. If we just put it in the river, you can see how deep this thing can actually get. Which also makes me wonder if water affects ballistics. Like, does it provide additional protection? Because, as you can see here, we have gone basically up to the tracks. And we're still not in a drowning state. We're near to it. So, I mean, you could, if this was a real map, you could hide yourself down here in a sort of well-protected position. Like I say, you can't actually climb this. You can get about halfway up, and it just gets stuck. Yeah, I did even worse that time. See underneath the tank a little bit if you want to see that sort of thing. The machine gun at the front is a bit weird. It doesn't seem to really be able to turn that much. Yeah, it just seems to fire in one spot. It's also not the machine gun that is actually modelled. You can see there, that's only got a few bullets in it. But this thing can fire for quite a long time. Now, it does reload pretty quickly, which, yeah, that looks like it would reload pretty quickly in real life. Yeah, obviously, also the driver view is bugged. That is how I'm able to see inside. The commander view is also fairly bugged. I'm not even sure where this is positioned on the tank. It's supposed to be on that cupola just behind to the gun. So anyway, that was the Char 2C BIS. It's going to be coming in at battle rating 1.7, which is, I'm going to be honest, I thought it might be a little bit higher, although that was with the original Char 2C. I can't imagine it being kept in with that fast reload rate. And it's going to cost 2,100 Golden Eagles, which... Is that going to be the most expensive low-tier premium? We go to Britain. Oh no, the Independent's also 2,100. Some of the German tanks get a bit close. it's going to be one of the most expensive ones at any rate. And yeah, I'm glad this has been added in. I really hope they add in the original Char 2C and perhaps even the up-armoured Lorraine variant. And yeah, this will be a very fun tank to play in War Thunder, and I can't wait to see it. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I've been Tyranno, and I'll see you next time.